bro.
Witcha.
Wala na.
Oh, ni Aki, Kendrick,
Wala.
Icarus.
Diyan na.
Chris. Good na.
Halito.
Shipping shop mo.
Siyo.
Ate, hey.
It's the
Kick a
hunted
deuce.
Madaw ka.
It's the hunted dish.
Chokma.
Kunumante.
Ako. Halito.
Stongo.
Si-
Istongo.
Siyo.
Oshkinyecha.
Adiska. How do you say Oh, Adiska.
Atiska.
Adiska.
Stongo. Atiska.
Let's do this.
Dude, I hate.
But
Adurahe. Adurahe.
Adura, hey, but
Buck.
Pivawum
He said
Matsume.
buck.
Pivawum Matsume. Ishi.
pivot issue.
Pivamota.
What?
Mahoda.
Good morning. Good morning. It is good day. It is good to see everybody. I feel good today.
Me too.
Yeah. Ewa. Well, good morning. Good morning. Coming live from 1956
South Shepherd.
here in El Ghetto, El Rio.
Oh no. What
Bono. Yeah. Well,
Yeah. So,
how you been? How you been, Mingo?
Random
good.
words.
Tell us a little bit about yesterday about the George Hawkins graduation.
Oh yeah.
Your experience.
I don't know. It's always good feeling going to when seeing our brothers and sisters graduate the 90 day, and
Yeah.
I heard a lot of good words, a lot of good motivational, for that next step.
Mhm.
They say 90 days may seem long to you, what they're going through, but
It's only the beginning.
yeah, it's just that small time, but it's a good time. It's a great accomplishment. So it's nothing to be. Oh, that's nothing. Oh, that is something. That's
Oh
something.
man, that's huge.
Yeah. So what'd you think?
And like you were just saying, we're seeing more and more people talk about recovery and sobriety across Indian country.
Yep.
Kind of like my shirt today, shout out to Res Recovery.
Shout out.
Like you see it all across Indian country is you see more and more people talking about getting sober, talking about healing, talking about a solution.
Right.
And like they were saying, that 90 days is only the beginning. It's an everyday thing.
Good
It's
job,
an everyday
Uncle. Good
thing,
job,
and because I always think about
Good job.
what
Good
if
job, Uncle.
I'm not talking about healing? What if, why can't I just chill? Why can't I just kick back and not worry about nothing? Because every once in a while we need that too, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, in my addiction, that's all that I thought about. How can I hustle up my next
Next hit.
my next
Sack.
drink? Like how can I hustle? So like when your addiction starts showing up in parts of your life that have nothing to do with your addiction, like that's the crazy thing about all of this is that your addiction will show up in parts of your life that don't have anything to do with addiction. And the crazy thing is that it uses your own voice to talk to you. Yeah, so you can't distinguish.
Tell myself.
Like you can't, like it's hard to say, until you build that, until you embrace and surrender and you completely give yourself the time space that's needed to put yourself in a positive mind frame, like my life was on repeat. So I like the way each like every time we get a class that graduates out of George Hawkins. Big ups to all of those that have. I've seen a lot of people get sober through that, going through that program. But like, it's an everyday thing.
Yeah.
It's an everyday. There's some daily maintenance that you can be doing every day. So I mean, I wish the best for him.
Yeah.
I wish the best for him. I knew a couple of them. I knew a couple of them.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big deal to me, to see my people want better for themselves.
Right.
So I just enjoy the whole experience. So
I think just let them know that there's no judgment.
no, not at all.
Like they say, you fall down, you get back up.
Yeah.
We're still here. We're still all gonna work through it and get through it.
Yeah. So yeah, we can do it together. That's the thing about it. I think a lot of people don't realize is that we can do this together. It doesn't matter how it comes, or what it looks like, like
That's word.
Let's look at it. Let's
That's
look
word.
at it first, and let's see where the creator leads us.
And I'm glad that all the programs be able to be involved, and for our brothers and sisters as they're going through their 90 days and working on themselves, and
Definitely.
show them all the different tools that they can find out, and and love themselves again. So
Yeah, for sure.
cope with so they can be ready when they get back out to the world or wherever they move on to.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling to see, and there were some that were my age, but for the most part they were young.
Yeah.
And I love that for them. I mean, no matter how old you are, like the creator is still giving you a chance to be better. And I think that's the amazing thing about getting sober and getting into recovery is, regardless of who I was and what I used to do, like, he allowed me the freedom and the peace that I have today. And he allows me to become a better person, and to me that's amazing. I just seen a big comment.
Yeah. Comments.
There's a couple of them. Frida Ray
Hey, sister.
says pop-up Wellbriety meeting today at noon at Scissortail Park.
All right.
Morning Star Healing Inside Out Wellbriety, serving all of Oklahoma.
Wow.
Thanksgiving and loneliness, grief, and what's the best time to have a meeting but the day before? I'll be doing service work at Kelly Club on Northeast 23rd and Kelly. Come on out and eat and you are not alone tomorrow.
Thank you, sister. Thank you for
Ooh.
Rita does so much, man. Like,
Yeah.
she does so much. I'm so grateful to have her in my life. So thank you, sister, for all the service that you do.
Rita.
Pobby Boris says, "Ha, morning,
Oh.
Pobbies. Aho.
Aho, brother.
Legend is here.
She
Hey,
said, legend
legend.
in the house.
Good morning, brothers. I'm 387 days in Wellbriety today.
All right.
May you choose this day who you will serve. I understand God chose me before I chose him. I'm thankful he had mercy on me. I'm thankful I was born again and shown the truth and the way of my new life. I choose to live each day as if it were my last, because one of these days it will be. And I learn to turn to each other and not on each other. Merry holidays, tour."
Thank you, sister, for sharing that. Yeah. So and it
That's word.
I see another comment come up.
Bial says, "Good morning, brothers
Yeah.
and sisters from Utah, Navajo
Hey,
Nation. 2
hey.
years and 7 months today."
Yate.
Ate.
Thank you for sharing that with
Yeah.
us. And it is that time of year. It is. We have some empty seats. Around the table. And I know for me it was my grandma. She was kind of the backbone, and it's you start missing them loved ones. So it's understandable. It's understandable. I think natives, we're such a tight knit community that it's like just one. I don't know if there's like a proper grieving process, or however you want to put it. Even though I have the the mending hearts training, it still gets the best of me. So sometimes it's okay to not be okay. But I've also learned that you can't stay there. You can't stay there.
Don't hold it in.
Yeah, don't hold it in. Let it out. So thank you for what you do, sister. Well,
Ooh.
y'all just want to go ahead and jump off into this reading?
Jump right into it.
Jump right into it.
Let's do this. November 26th. Today is, in our traditional ways, the woman is the foundation of the family. Haida Gwaii, traditional circle of elders. We must pay attention to the role of the woman in the family. She's the heartbeat of the family. She will be respected and treated in a sacred manner. We should listen to her guidance. We should help make her role easier by helping with chores or just telling her how we appreciate her. Great Spirit, I ask you to bless all the moms. Mr. Bowtone, what you think?
That's great. As we come into these holidays, and you just think about who's going to be preparing that meal,
right?
And like, is it noticeable just one time a year? Like we should be praising them every day.
Yep.
And being Cheyenne, I think one thing that you're taught very young is how important a woman is. Every Cheyenne ceremony, it includes a woman. Like it always, well, not every, but the majority. They always include a woman, and so we call that completing our circle. Is a woman's presence. And we're taught that they talk directly to the Creator. Like men, we kind of like gotta, we gotta go suffer a little bit. We gotta, put ourselves in a position where, we're begging for the Creator to look at us. We want Him to notice our pain and our suffering for what we want. Whereas a woman, she just has to be there because she has that direct connection, because she's the giver of life. And I remember a time in my life where, luckily I've grown from that. But at one time in my life, a woman was only good for one thing for me. Man, the pain and heartache I caused. I don't. There's a part of me that will always hold that against myself. But how I get a chance to overcome that is I get to love and respect every woman that's in my life today. I get to make living amends. I get to apologize. I get to, understand that I just didn't know, I just wasn't educated. I thought I was a very emotional, angry, hurt little boy. And since I've gotten sober and since I've done, some work on myself, I've been able to work on those things, that put woman back in her place. Put a woman back in her place, where she, not just because somebody is cooking me food or because of this or that, that's just how it is, every woman, is held in the same regards to the highest form of love, and it's been an amazing, it's just, for me, it's, I have 4 daughters, Brianna, Leanna, Hallie, and Penelope. Then I got 2 granddaughters, you know, Alani and Nova Jean. And, you know, like, I think about when that little girl sees me, when Nova and Alani see me, you know, like they just Papa, you know, like
Yeah.
they really love their Papa, you know, and I love that. Like it lets me know that this is by no mistake, you know, that they get the best version of me. And, you know, like I help their mothers try to become better people too. You know, and you know, like me and my mother, we had this, I think, you know, like when me and my daughter were on here Monday, I think, I don't know, you know, like it was a weird, I don't know what I said exactly. I think I told my daughter, like, you know, like, whenever I was your age, and if I would have said what you said, I don't even think anybody would have cared. You know, when my mom was watching, and I think she kind of, like, that hurt her a little bit. You know, and I didn't mean anything by it. You know, I was just talking about my truth. You know, what it was like growing up, you know, with, you know, with alcoholic parents. You know, but that wasn't like the subject. That's just, she knows that's where it came from. Well, you know, it made her feel bad. You know, no, by no means is that what I wanted to do. But, you know, I told her, like, you know what, Mom, I would pick you in every lifetime. You know, like I would pick you. And I wouldn't change the way that everything had to be, because everything had to work out the way that it had to be, so I can realize, like, so I can stop that from happening to my grandkids. You know, like I have to experience the bad first. I'm not saying it was all bad, you know, like my mom, you know, she did her best. She loved the hell out of me. You know, and she tried her best. You know, she was a single mother of 6 kids. You know, she tried her best, you know, and I watched my mom, you know, I watched her work hard. You know, I watched her walk to work every morning. You know, like, it's just, you know, I couldn't ask for a better person to be loved by. You know, so it's meant a lot to me, you know, lately to understand how important, what the foundation of who I am, where it comes from. You know, like I feel lucky that I was raised by the same person that raised my mom. You know, my grandma was in my life, you know, till I was about 18. You know, so I mean, I feel blessed, you know, that I get the opportunity to honor, you know, my mom. You know, I have so many aunties from Thomas. Man, I have like the best aunties, like you have no idea.
Good job, Auntie.
You know, and the aunties that have went on, you know, man, I really miss them. You know, I miss my Aunt Teddy. You know, my Aunt Mary Lou was so good to me. You know, like there's just so many. You know, my Aunt Betty was good to me. You know, like there's just so many. You know that, man, I just grew up around them. You know, and they cared enough about me to get on to me. You know, like, and I still get lucky. You know, I still got some. I got my mom. You know, I can still say mom, but I also got aunties that, you know, I can that are just like my moms too. You know, so I mean, there's just so many different ways, you know, that I can honor a woman today. You know, and and but not Janet. Everybody but Janet.
Good job, Auntie.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. Well, Chris, if you're watching, guess what? Yeah, she got quiet.
Your turkey that you're gonna make.
Go ahead, Mingo. Go ahead.
We got any comments?
No.
Comments, Steve?
Frida says, had the opportunity to sweat at the battlefield of Washita.
All right.
Felt so many relatives and prayers they said for us even before we was born.
Yes. that's
David
beautiful.
Deere says, "Good morning."
Stone Cold David.
I'm going.
It's Stone Cold.
Shaban.
Mm. See, I didn't get us in trouble. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You reminded me of how like we was at the training in Portland,
Mm.
and I don't know if you did the one with the ropes, the big rope, and the facilitator wanted all the men to let go of it because we're all had it stretched out as far as we could. And we all hung on, kind of leaned back a little bit, but not. And he wanted all the men to let go and the women just to hang on. And there was like what, maybe 4 or 6. There's probably like a total of like maybe 40, 30 of us in that room, and like maybe like 8 of them were women that were hanging on. And then they held it for a couple seconds, and facilitator asked him, how do you feel? It's getting, it's hard. And then he would go across the room and ask them. Out of all of them, only one of them was like, I'm not letting go. I'm not gonna give up. And so, and then like how you talked about your mom going to work, and reminds me of my mom too. Luna Sage woman, she went to work every day, no matter what. And she always tell us stories, no matter how bad she tore it, or went drink all the way till 2 or 3 a.m. She would go to work at 6 a.m. So, and then that was just how much powerful woman she was. And shout out to all the powerful women out there. And it's I don't know, just very appreciative of what she's done. And like they are like it says in the foundation of the family, of the people, and and they give life, and their prayers are way stronger directly to the great mystery Mahio. And just I don't know, just blessed to have. And for her, I always mention this, she took me, my sister, and brothers out to, Fonda, out to Sealand, all the benefit dances, and just able to experience that growing up and staying with the culture. And, even though we lived in a city, we would travel and go and come back home. And she would go to work,
Yeah.
Work hard, play hard. And she always said, I remember somebody's like, why do you keep going? Why do y'all go? Y'all need. My mom's like, it's our church. It's our church. It's our, we go to dance and celebrate life and our culture. So
I like that.
yeah. So
Yeah. So one of like I'm sitting there thinking, I can hear. I don't know why I always hear like my cousins what I think they would say. Well, they're like, well, duh. Everybody knows, like that's like duh, like like why are you telling us what we already know? About the woman being the foundation. Well, there's one thing that I've kind of learned while doing these Wellbriety trainings, these white bison trainings, is how our warriors have kind of lost their way, and it was the women who have carried us. Whether it's culture, whether it's ceremony, like all these different ways that the women had to carry the men, because the men kind of lost their way. I used to tell myself, when I heard this, whenever I was in jail, I was on my way to prison. I was 16 years old, in Oklahoma County in the juvenile pod, and I remember hearing somebody say, we were dead when our parents were born. Like we were dead when our parents were born. Like more or less meaning like my life was pointless. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be at. I was locked up. I'm doing what exactly was expected of me. Because that was my mindset. Is that I whenever I went to prison, I was the 10th Botone to go to prison. Because I remember that guy counting, my case manager. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's like, and you're the 10th one. I was just, and I didn't even know like any of the other ones except my older cousin. But like, and that's how I felt. Is that I'm doing exactly what is expected of me. I'm doing exactly, I'm right where I need to be. And so, then I think about, all the MMIP and the MMIW. Why is it the biggest threat to a Native American woman is a Native American man? You know, like, have you ever thought about that?
Yeah.
You know, like look how much domestic abuse is in Indian country. Like, it's so normal to us that we laugh at it and we say, man, that's just Indian love. You know, you get 10 divorces and then you get married. You know, like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like that's why it's important to talk about these things. That's why it's important to say, you know, why isn't a woman the foundation of your family? You know, maybe you got lucky. Maybe you are the man, and you know, she's never had to carry that load. But then you look around at your other family, you know, and you know, that's the majority of you know, the people in my family. You know, luckily, you know, I got a bunch of brothers. You know, I only had one sister. You know, and but you know, I got a lot of cousins, you know, that I call my sisters. And you know, I got a lot of aunts, you know, like they carried their families on their backs and did it willingly. Love doing it. You know, so I mean, I think it's important that we, you know, let's talk about these things. Let's talk about why an Indian woman's, you know, she's more likely to get hurt by an Indian man than anybody else. You know, in a domestic abuse situation, or you know,
Yeah.
like it's just something that's never ever really talked about. But I just had to go off real quick.
Mm.
Carmelo,
Uh-huh.
my hitch.
Christy Combs says the mother is usually
Good
the
job,
pillar
good
of the
job.
family. I'm thankful for
Good
my
job,
mother.
Andrew.
She's passed on from this sickness in 2019, but she's taught me a lot. I'm thankful for the good example my mother and aunties have been to me and my grandmothers. Strong, resilient Native women. I wouldn't be here without their prayers. It gives me hope and faith that my prayers are heard for my kids and grandkids.
Thank you for sharing that.
Brother Drew says good morning to all.
Good morning, brother.
Stacy Starr says good morning. Mr. Komet Siva, he must have heard y'all talking about him earlier. Says good morning, family. Thank
Morning,
you for
bro.
all your encouragement across our nation. Strong words. Always had the day off to attend Miss Margie Piwo's funeral, so I thought I would tune in.
Thank you for tuning in, brother.
Oh, brother.
Mr.
You did a great job yesterday. You did a great
Mr.
job.
Nolene says good morning, my brothers. 4 years and 7 months sober.
Hey, all right, brother. Thank you for tuning in. Like, he's all the way in Hawaii.
He's in Hawaii.
He just wears a thong
Thong.
all day long.
A black one?
His the dun dun.
Is the dun to dun.
A black
He just
one or-
wedgies himself.
Yeah.
Has on his tidy whities and he just wedgies himself.
A red one.
Puts his straps over his shoulders.
Uses scissors to cut it to where
Err.
yeah.
Got sleeveless thong on.
Err.
Tank top thong.
Cuts out all the cloth.
Yeah.
Just that band is there.
Yeah. Hey. But
Do you have any good?
but
It's hard to talk good words right
I
now.
know. Talk about mothers, women,
Damn, Randy.
but Indian and thongs.
Thong, 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 thong.
Drew said he wears it backwards.
God.
Brown line in
But-
front.
But
Oh my goodness. No, man. I mean, the quote in itself, the woman is the foundation of the family. That's kind of, if my life wasn't literally that statement, because I wouldn't be who I am now if it wasn't for the lady that raised me.
Oh, yes, great lady. She's a good person.
You know, I lost my mom when I was 8, and with the way that everything worked out and stuff, you know, my mom that took care of me, you know, brought me and my brother in and raised us to be who we are today. And if she wasn't if she was a single mother too. She already had her own 3 kids. Took me and my brother in. showed us what, I mean, despite the family that we grew up with, showed us what real family was supposed to be like. Showed us love, treated us like her own throughout her entire life. I still miss getting her messages. I still miss talking to her because I lost her to a drunk driving accident not too long ago as well. And so I always tell everybody, you still have a mother figure in your life. Cherish that time. Don't ever take it for granted, because there's going to be a day where she's not there anymore. There's going to be a day where there's going to be a message or something that you want to get. She would call me every birthday and literally just have that conversation. Hey, I know you're busy. You have your own family. Happy birthday. I love you. And she was like, I'll talk to you later. And that would be it. And she'd hang up the phone. And I long for those messages and those simple phone calls now. And so it's to understand that foundation that she built for me is literally, I'm still learning from that today. Still learning, because I remember things. I remember ways that she taught us to do things. I remember the way that she taught us to be independent. I remember the way she taught us to pray for your grandkids if you don't have them yet. Pray for the families that are out there that may be struggling. Pray for your kids, even if you don't have them. If you're looking for a spouse, pray for your spouse, because they're out there in the world and you have no idea what they may be going through. Even if you have no idea if you're even going to get married, there's your significant other or whoever it is that's out there in the world could be a victim of domestic violence, could be a victim of whatever it is their life is throwing at them right now, and you have no idea what they're going through. But if you're praying for them, then that's going to help them in their relationship with God. And I think that's a lot of who we are as a people, is like, so many of us have stepped away from having that relationship with Creator and having that relationship with Maheo. And so there's an absence of real love in our families sometimes. And that's why, you made the statement that, Native men are normally the biggest burden for Native women. And that's just crazy. But they're longing and looking for a relationship with somebody, and God's not part of that. It's taken all of us to realize how important that relationship is for us to get to where we are today. And I think that we wouldn't have been able to do it without the mother figures in our life, without the women figures in our life. And so there have been aunties in my life that have taught me things. There have been mother figures in my life that have taught me things. Even my sisters to this day still teach me things. And it's just important that we realize how much knowledge and things that they have, and that as givers of life, that how much responsibility is thrown upon them, and we have to respect that and understand that they're more than what most of us men realize most of the time. So I just think it's important that we you recognize those relationships, and you recognize that your moms are important, your aunts are important, all women are important, and don't take those relationships for granted. Don't take those relationships lightly, because one day you're going to be longing to have those again, and they could be gone. And so make sure you are prioritizing the right things. So
Mado.
Good job, Uncle.
Charlene
Good job, Uncle.
says, I watched my kid's dad struggle with showing his love for his mom for many years.
Yeah.
And he always talked about the hurt he experienced as a little bit. I could hear the sadness he carried about not receiving the nurture all children deserve. Some men don't know how to heal themselves as adults, and being in a relationship take them to a vulnerable place when they are in a relationship. I didn't experience domestic violence during that time, but the anger and resentment towards the mother, and there's a lot more to it, but I can't read it all. Let's see if it comes up here. Nope. So,
But yeah, I know exactly what she's talking about, because her ex is my brother. You know, I mean, and we're not sitting here like talking down on my mom, but my grandma raised my brother. You know, I think he held on to those resentments for a long time. You know, she may even have had to have dealt with them. You know, so I know exactly what she means. You know, and like the conversation between me and my mom, I think she was kind of, whenever I said something, it maybe have triggered. Like she felt like she had to respond to what I said. But that ain't why I say those things. I've already forgiven my mom. Like I'm not seeking, that validation anymore. But it was like my mom was like even questioning whether she should have been a parent. And I was like, like mom, like that's not, like that's feeling sad about that is part of the problem. Like you're sober, you're healing, you're able to, you're able to talk about, we're able to talk about these things now. Whereas before, like it was just unspoken.
Right.
So I mean, even getting to that point, and I told her, like her great granddaughters get to see her sober today. Like to me, that's a feat within itself.
Right.
Like she's already won, like a part, because her great grandkids will be able to say, I never seen my great grandma drinking. Like I watched my mom struggle for years, I watched her struggle. So I think it's she's still the foundation of our family. Do we get enough? Do we get it together enough? She's getting older. It's hard for her to ride in a car. And her house really isn't big enough for all of us to go over there. But I'm hoping, like we will be doing something soon for her.
Yeah.
To find a way to honor her and celebrate her a little bit more. But like it was a touchy subject. You could tell it was a touchy subject. But at the same time, I told her, like everything happened the way that it had to happen to get me to where I am today. So it was perfect. Like not saying I had a perfect life by no means at all.
No one does.
But like everything that had to happen happened for a reason. And I get to use that today to help other people. Like that's the beautiful thing about this, is I get to help other people with my, with the stuff that happened to me. And that's the beautiful thing about, getting into recovery is, all the bad choices and bad decisions that my mom made, that my dad made, maybe even my grandparents made. Like it affected me in one way or another, and I get to use that today to help somebody else get through the same thing. So yeah.
Charlene says, "Oh yeah, Janice is a wonderful woman. She loves all of her children. All mothers deserve forgiveness. Janice is a loving grandmother."
Yeah, she is, man. She's a great grandma. I remember at one time, my mom would, she'd be talking to her friends or whatever, and they would say, "How many grandkids you got?" She'd say, "I got 10 grandkids, and half of them are berries." Yeah.
Now it's more than that.
Yeah.
That's more than that.
Yeah. So yeah, Isaiah, Brianna, Leanna, Isaac, and Hallie. They were my first 5. And then eventually came Penelope and Johnny. Like 10 years later. Yeah. So that used to be a funny. My mom used to tell me that. Yeah, people would ask me, "How many grandkids you got?" I got 10 grandkids, and half of them are berries. But yeah, I love, my mom really does love my kids.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's great to see that part of her heal. Like I know it heals her a little bit every time she gets to see them.
Yeah.
I'm glad they get to see her. My mom's been sober for about 13 or 14 years. You know, she's been sober for a while. You know, and to me, that's that's a feat within itself. So, you know, I'm very proud of my mother. Very proud of all my aunties. You know, at grandma's. Man, I had a bunch of grandmas you know, growing up.
That's word.
You know,
Good job,
I
Andy.
definitely feel today's.
Good job, Andy.
Yep.
Good job,
That's all I
Andy.
really got.
Hope.
Auntie Dina Baca says she has always been a loving protector for me. Jerry White Buffalo says been sober since before the year 2000.
All right, Grandma. That's my grandma right there.
Yeah.
Grandma
And
Jerry.
Charlene said the Janice I am referring to is Barry's mom.
Yeah.
So, Krista Combs says, yes, that's the beauty of recovery. We can give away what we receive.
Yes, you can.
And Jen Miller says, my grandmother raised all of her grandchildren. I do my best to be strong like her. I wasn't close to my mom growing up, but I had my aunties. My auntie Mercy Haig would sit up with me all night talking to me if that's what was needed. She was the best, and I am eternally grateful. Today, I'm the auntie.
Wow.
And Dina says, I've learned to forgive my mother, realizing she did the best she could with what she was taught.
Yeah,
I have forgiven the generational trauma that was passed down.
definitely. You know, and that's like kind of where me and my mom's conversation ended.
Brother,
Ladies.
Brother Rossi says,
Ladies.
Miyake brothers and family, happy holidays. Charlene says,
Leave me alone.
Dina Baca, but my auntie Janice, I love her, and yes, you're absolutely right. Protector is something I describe her as too.
Oh yeah.
Miyake.
The Muppets.
You know, it's just. I think me and my mom had to have that conversation. You know, like I got to tell her, you know, because her thing was, you know, like her grandpa Alfred Wilson, her dad Woodrow Wilson, her brother Eddie Wilson, and then my brother Eddie Hamilton. You know, at one time or another in their life, you know, that's 4 generations. You know, were leaders of our tribe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and she said, now I get to service my people, but in a different way. You know, and I said, you know, I'm going to honor them by doing what I'm doing today. You know, and maybe we can get our place back in our family. You know, maybe, you know, but I had some great uncles too, you know, that were strong men. You know, so I mean, I have some great examples. You know, they've already laid down the path. You know, I just got to be able to find it and stay on it. So. But do you have any good words, Mingo?
Don't eat too much. Yeah. No, I'll just say, safe travels to everybody wherever you go this week, tomorrow, and
Happy
good luck to all the teams
Thanksgiving
this weekend for
everybody going to
Thanksgiving. Henrietta. I-40.
But yeah, I hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving. You know,
Turkey.
pray for us. We'll be praying for you all. And, you know, you should be back Monday.
Monday or Friday?
Monday.
Yeah, we should be back Monday.
Yeah, we don't work Friday. So we should be back Monday. You know, hope everybody has, you know, a place to go and enjoy. You know, if you don't have anywhere to go to your AA house.
Yep.
You know, go find you a meeting. You know, like those things are always available too. Just like the sister Frida said, you know, she'll be at 22nd and Kelly.
Yep.
You know, they'll be over there. They'll be serving a meal. They'll be, you know, doing, you know, because we also understand, you know, it can be a lonely time. So, you know, go find you an Al-Anon club, you know, Alano club. I mean, go find you a meeting. You know that there's always going to be meetings open. They understand what this time of year is. So yeah, you got family. You know, you just got to be able to find them. So.
And we're not doing ours Thursday and Friday, right?
Yeah, we're not doing a meeting. We won't have our meeting Thursday, and I believe we'll have one Friday.
Okay.
The men's.
Yeah, the men's meeting because I got a nephew that wants to go. So,
Okay.
Yeah. But do we have any more comments before we get out of here?
Dina just says, thank you for all you do, Tor. Happy feast day.
Oh,
Ooh.
It's hard to get that right.
Be
angle.
straight. It's hard to be straight over there.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Well, like, share, follow. Tell your mammy about us, and we will see you Monday.
Mm.
Wow!